Hey, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about how to use something called applied suffering to push yourself a little bit past your comfort zone every single day. And if you do this enough, it will make your life easier in the long run. Let's dive in. We only have a few weeks left until the end of the year and we go into 2024. And I was talking with a friend of mine and he's had quite a bit of growth in his life. And we were talking about how he can take it to the next level. And, he's done courses, he's hired coaches, he has read books, and he's like, man, I just don't know what the next level is for me. And I talked to him about this idea of something that's called applied suffering. And, I know him really well, and I know that his growth has been great, but what he's been doing to grow hasn't been that hard. It's been very knowledge-based. It's been courses, it's been reading books, but there hasn't been any applied suffering. And applied suffering means, if you go back to a few episodes ago when I was talking about doing something that's so hard that it changes you, the idea is how can we have this feeling of I'm going to have applied suffering? Because usually when we go through and we look back on our lives, look back on your entire life and ask yourself, when did I have the most growth in my life? And a lot of times what it comes from is the hardest times in your life. And really what it comes down to is how can I get myself to push for the sake of nothing else but pushing? And the thing that he, that's funny about him is he doesn't like restriction. He likes freedom. He likes, he's a very free soul. And I told him that the restriction and staying away from the restriction is actually the thing that's keeping him from being free. So see, he's trying to be free, but what he's doing is he's constantly trying to stay away from being restricted. And if you're constantly trying to stay away from something, whether you're addicted to something or you're trying to stay away from something, that thing still has a grasp on you in some sort of way. I remember Ram Dass listening to him years ago, and he said, whether you're an alcoholic or whether you're someone who is just I will never have alcohol, and I look down on every person who drinks alcohol, that alcohol is just the example here, but it could be anything, still holds a place in your mind and still owns you in some sort of way. And so when I was saying with him is he wants freedom, he wants to be free, and he's trying to run away from restriction. And I told him that the thing that's keeping him from being free the most is trying to always get away from restriction. And he thinks that he's free, but when you hate and you avoid something so much, you're not actually free. So the next level of freedom for him is applied suffering, which is to restrict himself and see if he can actually work through it and grow from it. And so basically it is to do something that you don't want to do for your growth and for knowing that there's a better version of you on the other side of that. Mentally, there's probably something where if I ask you, what is something that you don't want to do? What is something that is fuck that, I'm not going to do it. I want you to figure out what that thing is. And you know that you mentally don't want to do it, but deep down in your gut's yeah, man, you should give it a shot. Right? There's an intersection of the gut and the brain. The gut feels like you should do it. The brain doesn't want to do it. Now, why wouldn't the brain want to do it? Well, because the brain is a safety mechanism. Your brain thinks, no. You've got to only do things that are inside of your comfort zone because anything outside of your comfort zone is danger. And we don't want to hurt ourselves. But your gut knows your growth is on the other side of what you don't want to do. The cold showers, the pushing yourself, the going for, a run 10 miles every single day and doing it over and over and over and over and over again for 30 days straight, for 60 days straight, for 100 days straight. It could be working out every single day. It could be cold showers every single day. It could be a new diet. It could be giving up coffee. Maybe you're anxious and maybe you're just going to force yourself to meditate. Maybe you don't understand your emotions too much and you're not sure where everything comes from, or maybe you have a short fuse and maybe you need to force yourself to journal. But what it is you've got to start to think about that is what is the thing that you feel like you need to do, but mentally it scares you? What is it? What's the thing that you feel like you need to do, but you have resistance towards it? And then how different would you be, and how different would your relationship with it be if you did it for 30 days in a row? Like if you know what, I've been really out of shape for a long time. I'm going to work out 30 days in a row. I'm just going to push myself to the extreme for 30 days. How would you be different at the end of those 30 days? How would you be different if you said, you know what, I'm going to do cold showers every single day. I'm going to find whatever it is, find that thing that is absolutely out of your comfort zone and do it every single day through applied suffering. What does the other version of you look like if you did that? Like, let's go back to if you were out of shape and you're trying to get yourself back in shape. What would 30 days of making yourself work out, no days off, look like? What would you look like in 30 days? What would be the difference in your body in 30 days? What would be the difference in your mindset in 30 days? What would the difference in your relationship with your body be in 30 days? How would you handle other challenges? How would that working out every single day influence the way that you act in other places, in your business, in your relationships? It doesn't take long to make significant change in your life. And it's never really too late to change. You're never too late to turn it around. It takes pushing yourself out of your comfort zone into a new you is made, and doing it consistently over and over and over and over and over again. Because all in all, if we're being real, like life is really just about sacrifice. And whether you decide to put sacrifice into your life and sacrifice certain aspects of it or not, there will be sacrifice. So either you decide that you want to do something that is a sacrifice now, or you'll be sacrificing something later. So let me give you an example of what I mean. If you want to build a brand new business, you must sacrifice something. So it's crazy to me. I've coached so many business owners over years where they're like, I'm going to start this new business, but I don't want anything in my life to change. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Just close the business down. Because otherwise, if you don't change anything, your business is going to fail. So you might as well just let it go, right? So if you start a new business, you're going to have to sacrifice something. You're going to have to sacrifice some time. You're going to have to sacrifice maybe your current job. You might have to sacrifice some sleep. You might have to sacrifice hanging out with the boys on the weekends. You might have to sacrifice the toxic relationship that won't make it. The new business, if you really want to grow a new business, you have to sacrifice right now. Not starting the business though, sacrificing later. Not having the business that you want later in the future, not having the freedom that you want, not having the money that you want, whatever it might be. So either you're sacrificing now or you're sacrificing later. And it could be not starting the business now. The sacrifice later is mental health. You have to wake up and go to a job that you hate every single day. Maybe the sacrifice later is your bank account. It's not where it could be. Maybe it's your relationships because you don't have as much free time because you didn't put time into growing your business, so you can't take those trips you wanted to with your children. Maybe it's sacrificing your potential. And it comes down to, and I've said this over and over again, but I haven't spoken about it in a while, is life is either easy now and hard later, or it's hard now and it's easy later. That's it. Your life is going to be hard at some point in time. Either it's easy now and you sit on the couch and you watch Netflix and you don't work out and you don't build your business, and that's easy now and you scroll on Instagram. But if you do that, it's going to be hard later. Or you say, you know what, I'm going to use applied suffering. I'm going to make it hard now so that my life will be easier later on down the road, right? So like your business, that's your current sacrifice. You have to sacrifice now. That is you making it hard now. Maybe that's hard now for easy later. What does that easy later look like? Maybe financial success. Maybe it's more freedom. Maybe it's being able to travel. Maybe it's giving your family an amazing life. Maybe it's giving your children a better education. So it's hard now, starting the business, sacrifice, yes, but you get the financial success or the freedom or the travel or creating a better life for your children, giving your family an amazing life. Maybe your children get a better education because you can afford to send them to certain places. So that would be hard now and easy later. But what would what would easy now and hard later look like? You know what? I'm not going to start that business. You don't start. And so the rest of your life, you're stuck with a salary. Maybe you don't have the freedom that you want to travel. Maybe you get a week or two to go travel. You have to go to work every single day. Maybe you won't be able to retire. Maybe you die with regret and wish you would have done more. So there's always a sacrifice. Either you sacrifice now or you sacrifice later. Which one do you choose? You get to choose your sacrifice. And so once again, it's either hard now and easy later, or it's easy now and hard later. So now you're aware of this. You understand this. You can't pretend that you don't know this now. I just let the cat out of the bag. If you want to change your life, you have to make your life a little bit harder in some sort of way. If you want to, get in shape. Let's use that as an example. You want to get in shape. Maybe you just had something really tough happen physically, and you're like, I got to get in shape. I got to get this together. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice Netflix. You're going to have to sacrifice hanging out on the couch. You're probably going to have to sacrifice some naps. You're going to have to sacrifice some time with friends. You might have to sacrifice alcohol. You might have to sacrifice that really tasty but shitty food that you've been eating. You might have to sacrifice putting yourself through some temporary pain. You might have to sacrifice hurting at the gym. You might have to sacrifice being sore days after. So that would be applied suffering. That is hard now, which will then make your life easier later on down the road, because you might be able to live longer. You might be more mobile. You might be able to have more fun with your grandchildren because you can play with them in the yard. You might live an extra 20 years. That might make your life a little bit easier, right? And so it's like, yeah, it's harder now, but it's going to make your life easier later. And, we all know if you don't use it, you lose it. How many times you see people that were not very mobile in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, and then you see them in their 70s and they're not mobile at all because they didn't get their bodies moving. They didn't use it, so they lost it, right? So that would be an example of hard now and easy later. But let's say you decide you don't want to get in shape and you want to choose easy now. How would that make your life harder in the future? Well, you might have a shorter life. That sucks. You might live 10 years less. You might be less mobile when you get older. You might not be able to play with your grandchildren. You might not be able to walk your daughter down the aisle. You might be tired and not have as much energy. You might have disease that comes because of it. The beautiful thing about life, though, is that you get to choose your sacrifice. You get to choose your hard. Whether you realize it or not, you've been choosing your hard your entire life. But I will tell you this, time is either your best friend or it's your greatest enemy. But in time, everything works itself out. So you might be 30 years old and be like, well, not a huge deal right now. Fast forward 60 years, it's a big deal. And so you have to think about that. You get to choose your sacrifice, either hard now and easy later, or easy now and hard later. You work harder to provide for your family. That's what you decide. Not just, for you, but for your entire family. You go, I'm going to go ahead and put myself through applied suffering. I'm going to make it harder now because I know that I can make it easier later. If you're in sales and maybe you don't own a business, but you're in sales in a company, you can either just hit your quota so that you don't get fired, or you could say, you know what? I'm going to be the best fucking salesperson in this company. Why? Because I'm going to grow myself. I'm going to learn about myself. I'm going to become better through this job. You know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to make a whole lot of money. I'm going to take that money. I'm going to invest it. And I'm going to be able to retire earlier. There you go. Hard now or hard later? Which one would you prefer? Relationships. They could be hard now or easy, hard now and easy later, easy now and hard later. Putting off the work in a relationship. What does that turn into? Tough conversations. Oh my gosh, it might, and it's easier to have a tough conversation now, believe me. Those of you that have been in a relationship for a long time, it's easier to have a tough conversation now than to let things build up and have a tough conversation, way, way tougher conversation in 3 or 4 or 5 years. I want you to think about this. Think about how much better your life could be if you chose the hard route every single time. If you broke through all of your laziness, and when an opportunity arose, you just took the path of more resistance. How much better could your life be in 10 years, 20 years? How much more mobile could you be? How much more money could you have? How much more joy could you have? How much more peace could you have if you chose the hard route now? How much better could your family's life be? The people that you're closest to in this world, your community. When you step up, it's not just your life that improves. That's what I want you to understand is we always think like, oh, well, I'm doing this for myself, or, it won't really matter if I don't do this for myself because it's not really affecting anybody else. No, everything that you do or everything that you don't do affects you and everyone around you. It's not just your life that improves or gets worse. It's your spouse's life. It's your children's life. It's your parents' life. It's your siblings' life, your family's life. When you step up and you push yourself to do something that's hard, it will change your life, but also change everyone who you touch's life. But when you decide that you're just going to be lazy and you're not going to do the thing that you need to do and you're not going to push yourself, that also affects your family's life. And so really what it comes down to is, what are you going to do? Because you can have your life, you can have your life easy now if you want to, but it's going to be hard later. Or you can use applied suffering, make your life harder now, challenge yourself, grow yourself, make yourself better, rediscover that fire, that motivation that you used to have, that zest for life that you lost 10 years ago. See if you can bring that back into you, and then also start to change yourself and change the people's lives around you. So do something that's hard. That's what I got for you for today's episode. If you love this episode, please share it on your Instagram stories and tag me in it. Also, if you do want to challenge yourself, if you want to grow yourself and you want to change yourself and make 2024 the best year of your life, I'm personally running a 30-day challenge that I'm going to be taking part of and running myself. That is 6 different pillars that have to be hit to expand yourself every single day. If you want to learn more about it, it's called Level Up 30. You can go to levelup30.com. So levelup30.com. You can learn more about it. The first 100 people who sign up actually get $50 off and get entered into a drawing for a free one-on-one call with me. Yes, one person will win a one-on-one call. So if you want to learn more about it, if you're ready to change yourself, if you're done fucking around, really want to change your life, you would want to go to levelup30.com. If you're the type of person who doesn't want to, if you just want to take the easy route, and you just want to hang out and not challenge yourself, you don't want to be part of this challenge. I promise you that. So once again, with that, I'm going to leave you the same way I leave you every single episode. Make it your mission to make someone else's day better. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.